What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Save Point Podcast, episode 15. I am one of your hosts, Alex, and I am joined, as always, by my friend Sway. We're here to do the usual, but also primarily talk about Resident Evil 4 Remake, which comes out next week. We've done this before. We did this with Hogwarts. I think this is a nice little thing where we can just talk about it, right, 1 week out. Talk about how we're feeling. I will talk about, the other topics we have as well. Starting with, as always, what we've been up to, what we've been playing. Sway, you take it away. What you been doing?
So, last time I discussed this, I was playing Halo. I had just started the Battle Pass that Tuesday. Well, Sunday, not even a week, I finished it. So, that was what I was up to, and I have returned back to Hogwarts. So, between that, Hogwarts, did play a little bit of the demo of Resident Evil. Got through most of it, I'd say. In fact, I'm pretty confident saying that I was at the end. I just kept dying. And then by the time I was gonna go back into my third. Like I only died twice, but the time I was in my third life, it was time to go back to Halo, play with
Yeah,
squad. So,
yeah.
what about you, Alex?
Uh, so I'm still going through the Yakuza games. Kiwami 2, I'm more than halfway. I didn't plan on playing 3 of them this quickly, kind of like back to back, but I'm doing it anyway. I went back and I played Emily is Away. I don't know if you ever played that game. It was a game back in
I have
2015.
not.
It's about 27 minutes long. Such a short game, but I love it. I played it back then. I did it for the third channel because I just wanted something in between the Yakuza games. I didn't just want that channel to be those videos. So I played that, and that's a really, indie, very short but sweet kind of thing. And then I did the demo for 4, went all the way through it. That's kind of, it's we're in this drought. I think we could probably call it that. But as you reminded me off camera, before we recorded, the Exoprimal beta is today our time when we were recording this, and it goes through Sunday. So even when you guys watch this video on Saturday, you can still play it. I had no idea. I completely forgot. And actually, I don't think I forgot it because I don't think I knew it in the first place. But I'm looking forward to it. That's just something different, right? Now next week is Chia, which is on, I believe, the Tuesday, and then Friday
Yep.
is Resident Evil. So next week, finally, will give me one good week. Resident Evil is not the longest thing in the world, though, right? So it'll probably take like 3, 4, 5 days. And then it's kind of dead again for like another 3, 4 weeks. But at least we get something. And honestly, we get, and we'll talk about it, as the primary topic here, one of the best games of all time, one of the best horror games of all time, remade. So I've never really heard your experience. I don't know if I've heard your experience at all with any Resident Evil. What's your experience with the Resident Evil franchise, and what's your experience with 4 in particular? If you played it, if you didn't play it back in the day, where are you on the franchise?
So my franchise history is a little weird. Like I did play four when it originally came out, but it was more of a co thing that I did with my friends. So when we were all outside, sometimes we would play multiplayer games and then we play single player games and we kind of take turns. So Resident Evil 4 was actually one that I did not own. I believe Lance might have owned it. And we would just all take turns playing it. And we did beat it together. And I did enjoy it a lot. And that was probably, I want to say, my second Resident Evil game that I'd ever played.
Yeah.
And then I went back and played the first remake that they did a couple of years back. I have that on Steam. And then RE4, I'm definitely getting. Probably not at launch, but I am going to definitely get it. I did love what I played the first time, and it'll be great going back to replay it because honestly, I have not like played it since.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a pretty close, honestly, to work. So 4 was the first one I had ever played. I didn't own it either. I played at a friend's house on the GameCube, and I enjoyed it. I probably couldn't tell you like all the beats of it because it was way back in the day. And I didn't also even own a GameCube. What's funny about it is, because of the third channel and I want to do like all these older games, we try to pull out as many old consoles as we own. We do have a GameCube, and Christy, my wife, she actually owns RE4 on the game in the box,
Oh,
the official thing, and we have it. So I told her, I was like, "Dang it! I wish we could have found that out, earlier, because maybe I would have played it through right before. It's too close to it now. We discovered it like a week ago. But it was pretty cool that she played it, she had it, so we do own it on the game. We own it, but I mean it's because my wife does it, not because of me. But that was the first one. 5 was actually the first one that I bought. I don't know why. It probably had to have been because of 4, right? Because it's like I had no other link to the franchise. So when 5 came out, I bought it, and then my friend Pat, we just played it together. And, 5 was looked at so pathetically, so badly at the time. I loved it. I love 5. I think it's a lot of fun to play with another person. Him and I had so much fun. And then when 6 came out, we were like, let's get the band back together, which is just 2 people, and let's do it again. And we did it for 6 as well. So 4 was my first one. It caused me to get 5, then 6. But I wasn't like I liked playing it with him. We had fun. I wouldn't have called myself like a massive Resident Evil fan. I probably liked the movies with Mila Jovovich. I probably liked those more than the games at the time. But then 7, I loved it. We actually, him and I and another friend played that together. We really liked it. And then 2's remake, 3's remake, and obviously it's become kind of legendary since. But I mean, it was always considered really good. I just ignored 2 and 3 back in the day. I think I watched cutscenes of how poorly, 1 with the voice acting and stuff, how bad it is, or even the live action side to it. I loved watching, but I've never once picked it up and actually. You know what? Maybe if it was like a PS1 classic, I do feel like I have played the first game, maybe like 10 minutes of it. I do remember doing it, but just like a little. But yeah, I honestly kind of like you, like very up and down, liking the ones that most people probably don't like. I don't think 6 is very good. My wife like swears by 6 is awesome. I really don't think so. I think 5 is better than 6, controversially.
I know there was one. It might have been 6.
6 is the 3 stories, the 3 different ones, and they all have different kind of themes, right?
Or was it 7? No, 7. One of them I played on the VR.
7.
I was
7.
yeah, 7.
Yeah.
7 was the one I played on the VR. I did not finish it. I was strong. I was headstrong. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to play this on the system. I got this VR. I barely use it. We're gonna do it. Man, I'd say I played like maybe 5, 6 hours, maybe. I died a lot, but
Yeah.
man, it was an experience.
Yeah.
It was a experience.
I beat it, and I think it came to it maybe at launch. I don't know what the order was of the release, but I beat it non VR first, and then so maybe I got the VR. No, but I got the VR like a month after the VR came out, so the timelines don't make sense. But then I did play it in VR, but just to see. Like I was not intend, and I didn't. I wasn't intending to beat it in VR, and I didn't do it anyway. I think I did because I wanted specifically to do the dinner scene when they're kind of feeding each other like around you, and that was a show off kind of thing for the VR, at the time. So I did that, and it was terrifying, scary. I
Yes.
hated it, but at the same time loved it. 7 is probably 4 got me in, which then got me 5 and 6, which just looking back now is just so like very different Resident Evil. A lot of people don't really consider it Resident Evil in the first place. And then when it came to 7, I think it did to me what it did to a lot. I mean, 7 did so well, both
Yeah.
commercially, critically. It brought it back, right? And 7 did that for me as well. It's like, oh, so this is what it's like. But without really knowing too much about 2 or 3, and then those remakes came out, and obviously they're incredible, and I love playing them. And I played them when they came out. I think 6 on, I got them like day one. So like 6 I bought the day it came out. 5 I probably didn't. But 7 I know I did. Because I actually covered it on my channel. It was probably year 2 of Podcast Now or something. A very pathetic version of the channel. But I did cover it. 2's remake I covered. 3's remake I covered. And now here we are with honestly the best one. I mean, 4 is so good. You see, I mean, and obviously that's part of what we'll talk about here. Like, just to see what it's like online. There's so many accounts kind of not just dedicated to Resident Evil, but almost just dedicated to RE4. These
Yep.
like hundreds of thousands of viewed accounts that make all these kind of lore videos on it. It's a deep game. And it's also just it's a really good game. And playing the demo, I haven't touched this thing in however many. I mean, it came out I think what
5, I
2006.
think.
Man, I was 6 or 5. So
One of them.
it's at least 15 years old. Let's say it's probably been 10 plus years since I've touched it. If and I you had messaged me like it feels good. Number one, it looks like it's actually unbelievable how good it looks.
It it looks gorgeous.
Yeah.
I walked through that and I was just like, man, like I was there was a point where I was just walking through
Yeah.
just to see how in depth it was, and I got my foot stuck in the trap doing it. By the way,
Yeah, me too. I did too.
but that I was very impressed with how the game looks. Gorgeous. Just
Yeah.
I can't say enough good things about it.
Yeah.
It looks very good. Even I think that Capcom normally struggles with hair. I think that even the hair is not that
I'm a
bad.
big
Like
fan of the
it's
rain, even though they've
yes.
publicly said that like they're gonna have I don't know if it's a day one patch, but they're gonna work on a patch that stops it from raining as much. I mean, like the people that were making fun of the rain, I would look at those pictures and I love it. It's like downpouring. It definitely, I mean, look, I can criticize it while also like saying that I love it. It is too much, and it is kind of ridiculous because it's like a downpour, on Leon. But it looks awesome. Like I love visually how I'm a big fan of water.
I'll never be mad at rain. I'll never be mad at it raining too much. The only time I'm mad at rain is when it looks like the Grand Theft Auto trilogy remake, and
Oh yeah,
it totally messes up the the visuals.
I skipped out on that, and I was planning on getting it later, and then I never did because of the initial. I should have though because that was like a gold mine for videos and stuff. People just attacking those games, so I maybe should have done it. Dang it. But yeah, no, I mean visually it's incredible how, and it makes me very excited for 9 when they do RE9, or even like because now the question will be, I saw one person say it on Twitter, do they do 5? Is 5 next? And I think honestly because it's been enough time, and you look back to 5 and say, yeah, I think it could do it, and I think it has a soft spot to some people. I don't think it's as hated as the internet wants you to believe it is. Maybe that's a personal bias, but
I'm thinking that a strong part about a remake too is that they could make 5. They could totally make 5 better than what it was, while
yeah,
also keeping to what it was.
yeah,
So like I don't hate 5. But 5 was one that I also did not play. I watched in a game movie. Like so I watched it on YouTube.
yeah,
So that would have been one of those ones where I can't say like how it felt. I can't say there was just one of that things like I think when Resident Evil 7 when I was about to get it cuz I got it for VR, I want to say 2 maybe 3ish years after it came out. And I was trying to hype myself up to buy it because normally, as I mentioned to you, I have to always horror genre games. I always have to hype myself up with.
yeah,
So that's like another reason why, like, I will, if I have a buddy to play with, I will significantly get through that game much quicker than like just on my own. Then I'm just like, all right,
yeah,
maybe I'll play tomorrow. Tomorrow, yeah, I'll put it up tomorrow.
yeah,
So, but yeah, that is, I think 5, creatively, if they approach it the correct way, I think that it has a chance to win people over. Because like I agree, even 5 as it is, I don't think that is as hated
yeah.
as everyone wants you to believe. But I think it is the most hated
Oh,
out of
I think
all of them.
100%. But and yeah, well, like you say, the modernized thing. I'm always afraid of when companies say like, we're remaking it for modern audiences. That's probably the worst. It's the worst, especially for Hollywood. It's like if you say that, it's over, game over. For games, I think you probably have more of like a 50-50 coin flip, right? So and they have said it. Like that is a quote that they've said for Forbes remake, and it's like, all right, again, if it's Hollywood, I'd be done with it. But because it's the game, I get it, because in gaming things aren't exactly the same now as they were almost 20 years ago. Like the quick time events, right? There aren't any. Things that worked back then, they don't necessarily work now. So to modernize
Mm-hmm.
it is not because when you modernize a game, when I hear that, all that should really means is you just make it like function mod. You know what I mean?
how it would function
Yeah, right
today,
now.
and like,
Yeah.
yeah,
You don't redo the story to make it more time sensitive or thing. Now
yeah,
they have changed a couple, like people have pointed, like there are a couple small tweaks here and there, characters not saying certain lines they said, or characters that do look actually kind of radically different. Some people are definitely afraid, and I don't want to ever, discount that side, but I do think overwhelmingly, not all, but most of these like modernized changes are the game, or is making it so that if you're playing in 2023, it feels like it's a game that came out this year, not
one
2005.
thing one thing I noticed was that there's a dash. Um,
Yeah.
there's a dash, a shimmy. There's little slight things in the gameplay that you that are totally different than when I was younger.
Yeah.
Totally. Even just something as simple as movement is totally different. So when I think of modern, like when I was playing the demo, I was like, once again, like there's only so much that I remember from playing through the first time,
Yeah.
but I remember certain pieces in particular at the beginning, which is why I know like I was probably towards the end of that section because I can't believe that they would go further.
Yeah.
I haven't watched any videos on it yet because I didn't want to spoil myself,
Yeah.
but I'm pretty sure I was at the end of that demo.
Yeah.
And just the game just felt more in today's, like how you would play a game today. It felt more current, I should say. Um, and I like that. Like it was fluid. It was beautiful. I sucked, but
and
I
four's
really
always
enjoyed it.
felt like, because I agree with you. I think it feels modernized in its literal how he moves and its feel, but also like specifically a lot of the action elements, if it still feels old. But I really like that because like RE4, even to the Resident Evil games, is just, to me, has a very different feel. How you aim, how you move the aiming, his I always say, is it melee? How do you say that word? I can never
I
say
say
it.
melee,
Melee. His melee attacks, like it's not really something you get a lot of. There are some examples of it, but you don't get that a
that
lot in like,
roundhouse kick.
yeah, you don't get that a lot in like modernized games. Like, and I had said that before the demo, where it's like 4 just feels different in a good way. It's and even if you watch it, like watch gameplay of somebody else playing the original 4 and then watch 5, watch the newer ones. 4 is different. The newer ones are also different, but 4 is just different than any of those early first couple 5 games. It just looks different and it feels different. And I think they still have that. Like when playing, it's like, yeah, this does not feel like Village. It doesn't feel like the Rose DLC, which I just played like in October, right? Like it feels unique, but it also feels like what it would feel like in 2020. So it feels like it's this year, but it also feels like it's different than any other game. And that's kind of what it was back then anyway. So I think it works really well.
Much agreed, and that's the beautiful thing about a remake, right? It doesn't have to apply to the same rules as a remaster, which is
Yeah.
just cut and dry the same thing but with better visuals.
Yeah.
Like you can tweak this stuff and it's expected.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that they've made some beautiful changes from what I've played so far. I've only watched the official footage released from Capcom, and when I played the demo, only because I did not want to. I want to go through it again. I don't remember RE4. I don't have the greatest memory of the
Yeah. Me
story.
neither. Me neither.
So for a lot of portions, it will be like basically the equivalent of me almost experiencing it from the first time. Like
Yeah.
there was even things from the demo that like I didn't remember, but as I was playing it, I was like, "Oh, I remember this."
Yeah.
Okay, so I definitely am looking forward to just getting back into it and just seeing how everything played out. But from what I played, I loved it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm excited.
Smooth.
And this is, like I said in the beginning, this is one of the better games to ever come out. Redefine all
Hmm.
those, buzzwords, redefine the horror
Iconic.
genre. Yeah. But and it's been dead, for as this year's been big. Like when the big releases have come, they've been enormous, like Hogwarts and
Huge.
others. And it started like January started just hot and heavy really at the end of January through Hogwarts, and then after Hogwarts, the industry decided to stop. But this should. I mean, I think this is gonna sell incredible. I'm waiting.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe by the time this video goes up, these people were telling me, I tried to look it up online. I think the review scores may go live when we're recording either today or tomorrow, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But I can't wait to see. Like, review scores are review scores, but the original, I looked it up because I did a video on it. The original got, I think, like a 96. It's one of the highest rated on Metacritic, one of the
Game.
highest rated games ever, period. So I wonder if this one can do it. Like, I wonder if this one can also get in the mid 90s. But I think this is going to sell, like, at least somewhere in that 5 to 10 million range. Like, I think this is going to do extremely well. Because a lot of people, when I've made videos, and it's a smaller sample size for sure, a lot of people have never actually played 4. Like, this is the first time they'll be playing it, because they jumped in. I think Resident Evil has worked really well because it keeps kind of helping itself. So, like, 7 brought on so many new people. And a lot of the people that didn't like 7, they may have been, like, older fans that, like, dropped off. But you got a whole new wave of people that probably didn't experience those games. So then when you did 2,
Exactly.
3, and now 4's remake, I think you're going to get some of them back, the nostalgia kind of people. But you're also having people that jumped in with 7 as their first one. Or even 5, right? 5 was their first one. You kept going. Now you get to play 4 for the first time. I think there's hundreds of thousands, if not millions, that are like that. So I think this is going to
For
do...
sure.
It's not going to do Hogwarts numbers. That's safe for a while this year until Starfield and Spider-Man. But I think if there's like a tier with like Hogwarts sales, I think Resident Evil is like the next tier down.
Easily. And another thing that I thought about, this was actually a discussion that I was having in December, ironically, about Resident Evil, which is because of how popular this game was and how well it was received before. My friend had brought up a good point about how he doesn't think that people will acknowledge remakes to be good enough to win like a game of the year.
Oh, yeah.
Or
Yeah.
even, and I was like, well, if it's Resident Evil 5, the reputation that it has,
Yeah.
that would be a good question to see if that actually shows up in
Yeah.
that category.
Yeah.
I would like to see what the criteria is for a remake and how you go about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Like when I do it, my videos are like game of the year. I count remakes, but I don't do remasters. So if it's a remaster
Yeah,
of a
me
game
too.
5 years ago, it shouldn't count. But
Count.
like a Demon Souls remake, Shadow of the Colossus, a lot of Sony ones, but any remake, I think just by nature of it, they will have changed enough. I think it should be considered. And I can't imagine we get to the end of the year and 4's remake is not nominated for several things and maybe some people
Same.
say, I get it to a degree. Like when you have such a good game like that, right? Like 4 is just, it's legendary. And even if you didn't play it, you kind of know about how big it was. And I'm sure it
Exactly.
won dozens of Game of the Year awards back then from like the 30 sites that were around. Now there's like 500. So maybe, now it gets wave 2. But I can see people being upset about it because it's like, well, you had originals like Hogwarts, you'll have Spider-Man, you'll have Starfield, you'll have all these games. But honestly, I would even nominate the Dead Space remake. Like, I think the Dead Space remake, maybe not for Game of the Year, but it should win awards. And Resident Evil 4
It was
probably
received
will.
very well.
Yeah. And it's too big of a change, and it's just so drastically different than the original. How can you drastically different? I guess in a good way. How can you not acknowledge it for that and give it, nominate it? I guess for things, but I'll do it on my awards show. Jeff Keighley, I don't know what that great man will do, but yeah, I think it
I
stands
hope
a
it's
chance.
acknowledged.
Yeah. I think it will be. I think, like I said, we're only a few days away, if even. Maybe by the time people see this video, the review scores are out. If this game gets like in the mid 90s, you can bet it'll be a game of the year. And we know Hogwarts won't win anything, so
Yep.
just because. So I think Resident Evil stands a really good chance of winning. But no, I'm excited. From a personal side, like I'll have videos and stuff on the main channel podcast. Now I'll be covering it this upcoming week. I don't know if I'm getting right. I can tell you flat out honest, I haven't gotten it so far. Like, I'm not part of the early reviews, but I am on their list. So maybe I'll get it like a few days early. Maybe I won't. But I hope to. I hope to play it as soon as humanly possible. Any final thoughts, Sway, on RE, or just goodbyes to the fine folks at home?
I'm very excited to play RE4 again. Looking forward to re-experiencing everything. The game is beautiful. The game feels beautiful. I experienced very little I don't even say any performance issues that I noticed.
Yeah.
That demo was very polished. If you have never played RE4 before, even if you're not into horror games, the horror games genre at all, 4 is one that I would recommend you play. Like, this is coming from me, who is like, I love horror games, but I got to be in the mindset and the mood to play it.
Yeah.
And I think that this is one that would, like we were saying earlier, will bring you into the fold of like, why does everybody love Resident
Yeah.
Evil so much? I think that this will be the thing that gets you there.
Yeah.
So thank you as always for joining us. I really appreciate you all. Ask questions, we will answer them. And thank you so much.
Yeah, and we got a couple well, I don't know about next week. I don't know if I would consider it special. We got a couple special things coming up over the next couple of weeks. So some different stuff, and more on the personal side. And then as April goes on and stuff, I'm sure we'll have plenty with Dead Island and Star Wars, and then all the May things. So there'll be plenty to talk about as the weeks go on. But as Sway said, ask your questions. Well, as always, we'll have specific episodes where we just kind of tackle them. We did it last week. I thought it went really well. It was it opened our minds a little bit. It made us think a little bit, and we always appreciate that stuff. Thank you guys for watching. We truly appreciate it. 15 episodes in, pretty darn good, I would say, for this small. Yeah. We'll have to get to 20. 20 will be the next big one. But thank you all so much for the support, and we'll see you all on the next one.